It's time for your daily dose of all things Chicago sports. This is the Daily Score. Now, here's your host, Mark Grote.
Man, I got to tell you, 24 hours later, I am still astonished by the Bears' loss and the 38-20 loss to the Packers along the lakefront on Sunday in the first game of the year in what I called at one point in time a must-win game just for so many different reasons. The symbolism of Aaron Rodgers being gone, the potential symbolism of there being a new sheriff in town with the Bears, the idea that the Bears were not going to, it's carryover, right? So that's 11 straight losses now for the Bears. You have not seen the Bears win a game for about a year now. So it's really dispiriting, everything about it. And it still is not settling well with me. Just like so much of, the horrible things that went on in the game, all those Packers conversions and the pick six by Justin Fields, the fumble by Justin Fields, Chase Claypool being nowhere to be found, Braxton Jones, penalty after penalty. Some of the same old problems creeping up with the defense that we saw. That the 51-yard screenplay to Aaron Jones. So much alarm in one game. And I honestly can't sit here and tell you whether I know or not if I would be reacting this way if it was Green Bay. I think it would, like it was saying, different teams, similar circumstances, like the same thing happens in the game. And if all things were equal, of course, it takes a little bit of the edge off, but there were so many bad things that happened. We waited an entire offseason to see this team get better, and they looked like they were going backwards. Can they recover against Tampa Bay? It's obviously not out of the question. Yes, they can recover against Tampa Bay, who I know went into Minnesota and beat them, but I don't know that the Buccaneers are that good, and I hope to God the Bears aren't that bad. That said, I was in the locker room the day after, on Monday as we were recording this. So it's the day when Matt Eberflus has looked at the tape. The players have gone through tape review, which I imagine was painful for a lot of players and coaches to have to see that horror show and pause. Stop it right there. Pause right there. Yep. Yeah. That stuff got zeroed in on at Hallis Hall. So one of the things that was interesting about Matt Eberflus on Sunday, and I was there for that press conference as well, when he was asked about Justin Fields, he said, I got to look at the tape. And he said it would not be fair if I was to evaluate him on just not having the benefit of the tape. So he watched the tape. First question to Matt Eberflus right here is, what did you think of Justin Fields' play?
Yeah, he knows he can play better. He knows that. He's well aware of that. And he's going to work diligently to do that. And again, it's important that everybody looks that way. The offensive line, the receivers, the coaches, the defensive coaches, the defensive line, everybody. So it's everybody, all hands on deck to improve. Because we want to improve this season. As we go. We want to be a stronger football team every single week, and we have room for improvement, as you can see. So we're excited about getting that done, and it's a challenge for our guys to work on that.
And especially with Fields' interception, the pick six, it looked like on video that he was just locked into Mooney the whole way. Did he get a good view of his options and his reads on that play?
Yeah, I think he did. I think it was working back to a quarter side. So he ended up trying to squeeze it in there. And, it was obviously a good interception, and a good return. But he certainly needs to look, scan the field there on that one.
What did he miss on the linebacker that had the interception? What should have tipped him off to identify that?
Yeah, I would just say that he probably should just move on to his next progression. That's what I would say without giving too much away. Yep.
Specifically with Fields and the decision making, how do you evaluate where he is in terms of looking downfield versus kind of taking the check down?
Yeah, we always want him to look downfield. That's an important piece, to it. We always want to do that. Certainly on, before he scrambles and runs, we want him to take a look downfield and see open receivers if they are there. So we got to continue to work our scramble drill, which we work a lot of. So we always want him to do that, because that's where the explosive plays come.
Where is he in terms of the decision making there?
I think he's okay right now. I think, always, looking at those things downfield, we can always improve on that, and the receivers need to improve on their scramble drill as well.
Well, there's a lot there from Matt Eberflus. Now, he's not throwing anybody under the bus right there. Matt Eberflus talking about his quarterback, but I think he's been a little more pointed this year than maybe he would have been last year. Needs to scan the field. Needs to move on to the next progression. Talking about downfield passing and decision making and all that. And I know that these are things that are easy to generalize, and he did a little bit of that. Matt Eberflus saying the wide receivers had to be better and all that. But I don't think he thought his quarterback had a particularly good game on this day. And the game plan, while it was conservative, what we saw in training camp more than anything was Justin Fields' troubles with accuracy on downfield passes and a lot of turnovers. I mean, how many times did we mention Tyreek Stevenson's name during training camp, or Kyler Gordon, or any fill in the blank defensive guy in the secondary? That, Jaylon Johnson had a terrific camp. And it almost gave me this false sense of maybe the defense is really improved. They sure didn't look like it on this day. And unfortunately, at least for one game, it confirms what we were seeing in training camp with this offense and Justin Fields. The defense, I'm a little bit more surprised by, just because it did look better, but it was relative to what was going on with the Bears offense. Next cut from Matt Eberflus. He's going to tell you about one of the biggest issues on offense, but first, what concerns him most about the defense.
I would just say third downs. The rush and the cover, the cover and rush. So it is about the rush, no question, but it's also about the coverage, and it's us having precision and detail there to be able to get off the field on those third downs. For example, the first drive, we ended up having 3 of them, didn't get off the field. So we have to do that at a better rate.
Matt, Justin said the lateral passing game was a part of the game plan yesterday. When you look back at just the individual blocking on some of those screen passes, what was your assessment of how?
Yeah, that has to improve. We all saw that, right? So we got to block the perimeter better. We got to sustain our blocks. We got to take better angles. That's part of what we need to improve for sure.
I mean, blocking just bad all around, from downfield to the offensive line itself. And to the point of the third downs, that 3rd and 13, like we talked about yesterday on the first drive, that the Packers and Jordan Love converted, that was just death. They scored on a 4th and 3, and the Packers were 9 of 13 on the 3-point conversion. So just alarming stuff from the Bears defense, not able to stop things that they weren't able to stop last year. No discernible improvement. Jaylon Johnson talked to us as well on Monday, and he was asked the question, was there a lack of energy for the Bears?
I would say yeah, because normally that comes with execution. You don't have too many juice and energy when you're not executing. So I think naturally that allows us to have more energy. So during camp, when we're playing at a high level, we're winning reps, it's easy to have energy and juice then. But when you're not doing what you can do, when you're not getting off on third downs, when the offense isn't quite moving the ball, whatever it may be, not executing at the level that they want, it's hard to tell a team have energy and have juice. I mean, you'll be faking it at that point.
Is it surprising to you that the juice and energy just wasn't there naturally for?
No, it wasn't in the beginning of the game. But like I said, as you go on and you not executing, it's hard to continue to have juice when things aren't going your way. And then I think it was after Mooney scored, then that's when we kind of had a little spark. Like, okay, let's go. We got to get back in there. We got to get a stop. And then when you don't get a stop, it kind of depletes it a little bit. So it's not a matter of us not having juice as a team. I think it's just executing and allowing that energy to flow throughout the entire game.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty honest from Jaylon Johnson. I do appreciate it. I mean, sometimes you just can't fake that. Sometimes you can't manufacture that when things are so dejecting, with the pre-snap penalties and setting up these long situations. I kind of get where Jaylon Johnson is coming from. It sucks. It doesn't excuse anything, but that was just a good answer. Sometimes the player comes up with a good answer, and that's what it was. Johnson, too, by the way, said yesterday, I thought had one of the great lines of the locker room when I was in there after the game on Sunday, when he said we weren't who we thought we were, I guess, on this day, which is, spot on. Weren't the defense, like, just speaking from a defensive standpoint, weren't who I thought they were either. Last cut alert, and that'd be Khalil Herbert, and he was the one that had to answer for all of the penalties on the offense and the sloppiness that was going on. Oh, why, Khalil Herbert? Why?
I can't tell you. I don't know. I can't pinpoint it, but we just got to be better. Got to be more disciplined, more locked in, and that's kind of that detailed approach is one thing we're going to definitely take into this week. So,
is it surprising? Were you surprised that you guys came out like that?
I mean, definitely. You prepare and come out and do practice and all this stuff, and you want to come out and put on a better display than what we did yesterday. So it was definitely surprising, but everything happens for a reason. You could learn from. They had a great game plan and everything, but ultimately I feel like we beat ourselves. There's a lot of stuff on the tape that simple fixes that we can fix going into this week. So that's what we're going to try and do.
When you talk about their game plan, what was it specifically that they were doing that leads you to say they had a great game plan for the Packers?
I mean, they just played their football. I mean, they weren't doing anything special, anything specific, but ultimately we beat ourselves, I feel like, and we backed up on first down, different things here and there. So just can't beat ourselves.
Yeah, the reason I followed up on that game plan thing is because you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear out schemed, essentially. And I know that weren't his words. His words were they had a good game plan, but which I guess sometimes you just gotta say, yeah, team has a good game plan, and what Matt LaFleur did was better than what Alan Williams was able to counter. Now, Luke Getsy had a conservative game plan, which to some degree I understood just because I saw the troubles in the downfield passing game during training camp. But obviously, big changes need to come forth for this Bears team to get themselves right. And we've seen it before where the Bears have rebounded in the past from horrible losses. Lord knows we've seen a lot of horrible losses. So it's not inconceivable that the Bears go into Tampa Bay and win. I mean, it is far from impossible, but I already can't wait to see, because I need this one to banish, to go away, and to somehow ice it down as far as we can ice this loss down to the Green Bay Packers. That is it for today. For Ray Diaz, the executive producer of the Daily Score, I am Mark Grote, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Take care.